Hey guys, I want to tell you about Altior. Altior is the name of an entity slash character that is intertwined with my story in pretty cool ways. Um, so let me go back to when I first met, found, evoked, discovered Altior. Not really discovered. I willed into existence this this thing. Um, Essentially, I was starting from a place of solipsism, meaning the belief or philosophy that like you're the only one who actually exists, and everything else is just like a hallucination that you're having. Um, and I started from a place of solipsism, um, but I wanted to make it. It's not that I was trying to create a new state of mind. It's that I wanted me to be me and everything else to be one thing. So, like, if solipsism is just one being, I wanted there to be two, me and another. And the other, I called Altior, kind of just playing with the Latin root um, a little bit. And so Um, so I was in a very heightened state, and I was this was back in 2014, I guess maybe 2013, yeah. Um, and I was just like frantically, just with all of my soul, putting my entire will into uh, discovering Altior, and looking around and seeing everything as another thing, this other thing that's not me, that's Altior. And so what happened was, after some intense minutes of this, kind of just staggering around everything I see, seeing it as the other, I eventually, this huge, not huge, just big moth spontaneously came into existence, just um, in response to my calls. And that was my first contact with Altior, as this moth, like a 2 inches long or something. And so I had succeeded, basically. And then in the following weeks or months, I very quickly appropriated the name Altior for the co-protagonist of the novel that I'm kind of stewing on. Um, I haven't written very much, but I have a lot of ideas for it. Um, and so Altior refers to a co-protagonist in there, um, kind of a guy, average build with sandy blonde hair, and he's kind of going around solving people's problems with magic, and often having a bit of a reluctance, just like I don't want to deal with this kind of attitude, um, but not so much like that it's excessive. I don't know. So the and his universe I call Altioverse. It's rather more like fairy than our universe. I mean, magic is pretty uh, present, and but technology is pretty present too. It's kind of our level of technology, mingled with like a full level of full. I don't know what that means. Um, with magic. Um, so and I continued to mostly think of Altior as a character in my book after that. I kind of dropped the initial need for having another single sovereign entity apart from me. Um, but I'm coming back to that, which is why I'm making this video now. So, um, let's see. Skip forward to like maybe last November or something of 2018, and I'm sort of making that up, but sometime last winter I had I had a series of crises that and this particular one in the end I checked myself into Our Lady of Peace. I was ended up being hospitalized. I want to word it carefully because it's not like I was taken there forcibly or anything. But so during that, I'm not gonna talk about the episode itself because that's just a whole nother topic. But there was a point in it, um, close to the height of it, where I was. It was the middle of the night, like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I was maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, and I was out outside walking, just walking, and I it's awfully hard to describe this. I okay. I'll describe one other thing um, that I mostly felt when I was at the hospital, experienced when I was at the hospital, but to some degree earlier, which is the experience of seeing spirit um, as a white mist, like a a white mist that pervades space, um, without occluding anything, and not like an actual fog, but like a vaporeal kind of um, I don't know. Um, now and so and I had been seeing the angles between me and other people as well. Kind of, and that's also challenging to describe. Um, but it was very simple in my thinking, in my mind's eye. It was like I'm with another person, and there's a line separating us, and each of us are on, um, say, our left of the line, and there's an angle between that crosses the line in the midpoint between us, and seeing that angle. So, um, so what happened with regarding Altior was that I I was out walking, and I don't remember the moment of it, but I recognized that I had an angel, that there was this thing that was this kind of misty white, totally not visible, but kind of felt or perceived kind of misty white thing way up in the sky that I was in an angle with, like that. That was uh, kind of guiding me, and I realized to my amazement that it was Altior, and I was still thinking of Altior as in the book. I was thinking, wow, Altior has uh, come to life, and not only that, he's an angel. Like, he's way higher than I gave him credit for. I was thinking of him as mostly the higher version of me, kind of the have. It was partially a character that was its own character, and partially something that was um, meant to have um, the higher characteristics of me. So we're meant to reflect that anyway. I guess I never really was consciously put those characteristics in him. So um, that might be a mischaracterization, but that's how I thought of him. So so now I had this realization that well, first of all, I have a guardian angel, which I had never believed in before. There's a lot of stuff like that in my path. I didn't believe in X until it happened to me, and a lot of that. But so, and honestly, that's kind of almost where it stops. Like I haven't been in extreme enough mindsets lately, which can be regarded as a good thing, certainly, to be able to have uh, to be able to perceive my guardian angel, um, or have kind of a conscious contact with him like that. So there's that. Then I'm thinking this would be some months after that, kind of in the spring of this year, 2019. But so there was that moment, and then I'm kind of tracing all the Altior moments in my life. Um, and then one that happened just a couple of weeks ago. I don't know exactly when, but I was I was um, experiencing for sort of the first time, um, uh, not quite the first time, but essentially that um, my decoder eye signals, which I'm intending to do a video on of itself, um, my decoder eye signals were being sent by another entity, which usually it doesn't feel that way. Usually it feels like it's just God, or it's just a, uh, a senseless mechanistic kind of metaphysical thing. Um, and so so I was getting this sense, and then all of a sudden I could see it, and it reminded me a lot of the experience of Altior as an angel, because I think around that time period I had an experience like this too, where it was like the air or space, I guess, was shimmering, like there was a presence there in the air that I was watching as I tracked it around with my eyes. It was there, and not nothing with the shape, kind of just like uh, kind of like a diamond shaped sort of um, just area of the air that was shimmering, kind of like turning over, like Jacob's ladder or something, like and not really like occluding anything again. Um, and so I felt that, I saw that, and I was like, Altior, and I was, um, I don't know, taken aback by it. Um, and then later that night, I was riding on my bike, and that same shimmering was happening, um, kind of right in front of me, like around like the wheel and on the ground in front of me, and it was like, wow, this is what it feels like to be protected by a guardian angel. Like this is the the guardianship, that my literal tread of my movement is being guarded and overseen by this presence. Um, and then this brings me to today, which is why I'm making this video, which is that I experienced what I consider my first experience of the supernatural. Um, and I mean that in the sense of like paranormal and, you know, ghosts and kind of things like that, eldritch things. Um, and I was home alone and trying to take a nap with my door shut, and I heard the bathroom door shut and then open again downstairs, which is, I figured Dad had come home, and then uh, there was a yank at my door. Um, I'm upstairs in an attic, and my door is kind of fastened with this goofy little thing that's like one of those really long twist ties that comes from um, like a head of kale or something, and just fastened through this chain. So the idea is that it could be opened from the outside, that it's not locked, but it could still hold shut from the to when I'm sleeping or whatever. So basically, there was a yank at my door, and I was, you know, kind of well, appalled is a strong word, but I was really annoyed that Dad would do that, and it happened twice more, and I should um, excuse me. It happened twice more that my door was yanked on, and the third time I could hear that it had been opened finally, and downstairs, um, and I also heard the bathroom door seem like it had been open and shut again, or at least open again. I don't know. Um, and so I go downstairs, and nobody's there. Dad's not home. There's no car back parked in the outside, and so it occurs to me that this is Altior again, and that as the merger between Earth and Fairy draws closer, he's gaining uh, more, you know, physical influence. But I also, I mean, at first I was just thinking, oh, it's a poltergeist. Like that's so cool because I've always wanted to see a ghost or whatnot, um, and it's never happened. So I didn't go straight to thinking it was Altior, but that makes sense.